So we are at the home screen of Simply Applique. The first thing you need to do is to customize the screen so that it works for you to be able to place the FCM files that you have downloaded from the Brother Canvas or have imported from the Scan and Cut over to your computer onto the screen. The first thing you want to do is come over to View and go to Preferences. In Preferences, on Formats, Recipe is normal. If you click this, there's all different kinds of things in here, but we're just doing regular quilt fabric, so we're going to say Normal. Machine Format, you can put your machine format in there. It doesn't matter. Because Simply Applique is a module of BES4, these things were just put in there because BES4 has those options in that software as well. Environment. This is important. I went to English. You can do them in metric or you can do them in English. The pieces in the Warmest Wishes Applique really measure out to regular English inches and half inches and that type of thing. So English works for this. And then on grid, you're going to want on your spacing, if you're using the English, horizontal by inch 0.5 and vertical inch 0.5. What this does is it makes each one of these little squares out here half an inch. And I have found that to be a fairly good measurement scale to be able to place these pieces. You can show your grid as solid lines or dashed lines or dots or whatever you want to do. So, and then the major grid, every 10 lines, that's these dark purple ones here. This is what you need to set up. This is the most important part right here is the spacing. Tell it okay. Also now we want to look at the hoop. So this hoop that I have, I'm going to go to Home and I'm going to go to Hoop and select Hoop. This is going to be very important because you need to know the boundaries of your hoop in order to figure out how you need to place your applique pieces. The smaller the hoop, the more hoopings you will have. So you would want to use your largest hoop possible that your machine can handle. And then based on, like I just said, how small your hoop is determines how many hoopings you're going to have. So this is the 9 by 10. I want to use the XP1, which is the Luminaire. I put that in there. That was not here by default, and so I went to New. Width was 10. Height, I put 16 or 10.5 and 16, and then you would name it. So you can name your own hoop right here. It says inches because of the preferences that we set. It should be millimeters if you used metric. So, and then you can name it, and I called it XP1 large hoop. That's how you would put in your hoop if you cannot find it right here. I'm going to click Apply. XP1 large hoop, it tells you right there because I customized that. I put Apply. I'm going to click OK. So now I can see my entire hoop. You can pan, which means grab the hand, and you can move the hoop wherever you want. You can, if you uncheck pan, use the scroll button on your mouse to zoom in or zoom out, or you can use these to move around, depending whatever you want in order to make it work for you. We are ready to get started. If we were doing this the old-fashioned way and you were putting this on a background, you would, of course, you would want to orient everything the way it's supposed to go. And so as a starting point, let's look at this big wing right here. So I've got this great big square ruler, and I'm going to take it and put it exactly so that the edge of the ruler lines up with the edge of the paper. And then I'm going to move this piece so that it fits in the lines, and I can tell
that the tip of this piece is exactly 90 degrees. That's where the point is, okay? It doesn't matter how far from the edge of the paper is. What I'm trying to get at is the tip of this point is not turned like this, and it's not turned like that. It exactly is pointing at a 90-degree angle, if you were to draw a straight line, to the side of the paper. I hope that makes sense, but I just am trying to give you a visual orientation of how this would go. Now, the old-fashioned way, once you knew that this is going to be placed on your fabric with the tip toward the edge of the fabric, you would look at this and go, okay, the leg needs to go under the big wing. And if it were the old-fashioned way, you would probably measure it. And you would take a little ruler and you'd go from the top of here, from the top of the dotted line to the bottom of the body, where it's going to overlap, is 2 inches. You might even take a little marker, probably an iron away, not a crayon, like Crayola marker like this, and you would make a little 2-inch mark and figure out exactly where that needed to go, just like this. And then you would go, this is 1/2 inch up underneath the edge of the body. And this is how they would be positioned on your background fabric. We're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to do it on a computer screen first.
So now that we have an idea of how this is going to be placed on the background fabric, thinking about how we did it the old way, we're going to do the same thing now. So come up to the A in the upper left-hand corner, and it opens up a menu when you click it, and we want to go to Import FCM. I am going to import the big wing, say that 3 times fast. And here it is. And if you recall, I need to click this, you want your little hand on there. If you recall, that tip was pointing exactly horizontally, so there was a 90-degree between here and we'll call it the edge of the hoop now. That works. So that is the right orientation of that big wing. Also, let me zoom in just a little bit. I want to make sure that the wing is sitting on a line. You don't want it in the middle. See how this is in the middle of a line? You don't want that. You want it sitting so that it is on a line as close as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. So it's sitting on a line, and this point is right here on this particular line, whichever it, it can be up one, down one. I mean, if you want it right here, it doesn't matter, just so long as this point is on a line that shows perpendicular, so that way you know it's not tilted too far this way or it's not tilted too far that way. All right, we want to have it exactly there, and I want it sitting on a line. The reason I want it sitting on a line is because, if you recall, each one of these squares is 1/2 inch, and that way I don't have to measure them in halves. So I'm going to scoot down a little bit, and I want to bring in my legs now. So I'm going to go click on the A again, import FCM, and my leaves and my legs are in the same scan. That one I kind of didn't do right, but that's okay. I'm going to open it up, click off of it, and I'm going to get rid of this leaf because I don't need it. And as soon as I hit delete, it jumps to the next object. Well, that's not the object I want, so I'm going to click this leaf now and hit the delete key. And now I want to, let me back up a second. It does not matter where this is in the hoop right now. All that matters is that this is on a line that is perpendicular to the frame, to the hoop, and this is sitting on a bottom line. I want to take this leg and move it over here. So I want to get these legs, first of all, I need to straighten them out. They are not that straight. That's better. That's better. This leg is 2 inches up, so I need to be 4 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good. And then this leg is 1/2 inch up. And these are just, oh, we'll make them 1/2 inch apart. That's okay. That looks pretty good. I think that'll work. That's all I'm going to be able to get into this hooping at this time. Because if I were to put anything else over here, it would go outside the boundaries of the hoop. Now, when you come over here to artwork, I need to stitch the legs first. So these are in stitching order right now. The big wing, I want to be last. So highlight it. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is rename it. Highlight it, right click, rename, big wing. That is my left leg, right click, rename, left leg, right click, rename, right leg. Okay, I need the wings stitched last. So highlight it, don't click on the words, click on the picture. Grab it and drag it to hover over the one that it will go below. So now my big wing will stitch out last, and I want my left leg to stitch after my right leg. There we go. So first will be the right leg, then the left leg, then the big wing. That works. I want to go to arrange. I'm going to click on center. Ooh, don't do that. Control Z. All right. So the reason it did that was because I had only had big wing highlighted. Let's highlight it all and then click center. There we go. Perfect. Now that's in the center of the hoop. It's all finished. So I'm going to go to tools. You want to highlight. Let me uncheck that so you can see. If you don't have anything highlighted, convert to applique will not be highlighted. You need to highlight this one right here. So that selects all, and then you can convert to applique. And by default, it changes to a satin stitch. I don't want a satin stitch. I don't recommend that you do this satin stitch. I think it will be too bulky under scarf and the leaves and all of that. So click on the button over here on the right in the properties for satin and go to blanket. And the stitch length is 2.0, the width is 3.5 with density of 3.5. I'm just going to leave everything as is and click apply. And it changed to a blanket stitch and we're all done. So I'm going to go to up here to the A again. I'm going to save as. And inside of my Warmest Wishes folder, I created another folder. If you do that, there's this little button right here, create new folder. And I created stitch files. And you want to change paste setter outline files. It always does that. It will not remember what your format is. That's why I said it didn't really matter when you put it in the properties. And I'm going to title this 1-legs_big wing. That was the last file I had done when I was testing this. So I'm putting a 1 there because that tells me that's my first hooping. And then this is the legs and the big wing, and I'm going to tell it save. For your second hooping, we're going to do piece number 2, which is the body, and piece number 3, which is the little wing. You cannot build on this the way the orientation is right now. So when you start a new hooping, let's say you close it for the day and come back the next day, when you start a new hooping, you'll go ahead and pull up the last hooping that you had. I'm going to Control A to select all, and I'm going to move this over here. Just to get it out of the way, but yet I still know where I need to put the orientation of the body and the wing. Because we're just going to build off of this and then delete it and save our second hooping. So let's try this again. Same thing. I'm going to click the A, import FCM, and I need to get the body. There it is. The outer edge of the body is 2.5 inches over from the outer edge of the big wing. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to click off of this and I'm going to click my legs, hold down the control key, right leg, left leg, big wing. That way I move the whole thing. I'm going to move these so that the edge of the big wing touches exactly on the 0 line. You want it on a solid line, and then I know, and now I'm just going to move the body, and I want the body to be 2 inches away, which is right there. If you come over here on the side in the ruler bar, you can hold your left mouse down and click, and you'll pull over a guide. And this is where, on the 2-inch line, is exactly where I want the edge of the body. This is where you got to play with it a little bit. I need to turn this. I maybe need to bring it down just a little bit. Look at that. That's about right. That's pretty close to perfect. Let's get in and take a look at it. There we go. That's exactly what I need. I need 2 inches between the edge of the big wing and the edge of the body, and I need this point to be right here on the edge of the body. That means that I have successfully figured out the angle difference here in the neck, where the leaves and the scarf are going to go. Now I need the small wing. I'm going to go up here to the A again, import FCM, and I need the little wing. Open, click off. I need this, put this over here. This I don't need. Delete, delete, delete. Great. Now, the difference between from the outside edge of the body to the outside edge of the wing, little wing, is 1 inch. Zoom in. And there is 3/4 of an inch from the outside edge of this leg to this point. So I'm going to move this. On these guidelines, if you put your arrow there and hover over it, you'll see a little double-edged, double-ended arrow. I'm going to, it'll make it move. So there is, let's see, what is that? That's 1/2 inch. Okay, so the outside edge of this little wing needs to be right there. All right, so looking at the paper pattern, I have 1 inch between the outer edge of the body and the outer edge of the little wing. I've got 3/4 of an inch right here, and I've got about 5/8 of an inch right there. That's what we call good enough for government work, artwork. Rename body. And this artwork, rename little wing. Okay, I need the little wing to stitch before the body, so I'm going to highlight body, grab the picture, drag it so that it's hovering, and there. That's good. Now, this is going to be my second hooping, so I'm going to come over here on these items and I'm going to highlight right leg, hold down the control key and go left leg and big wing, and I'm going to hit delete. There we go. That's good. I like that. You don't need to worry about these guidelines unless they bother you. To get rid of them, you just put your cursor over it and drag it back over onto the bar and they'll go away. You can also do it from the top. See, you can grab them. They're wonderful to have. They give you a very good orientation of how everything is going to be. So you want to control A to select all, and I want to go to arrange and center. That puts everything in the hoop. Ah, that's good. That works. There's our second hooping. Okay, again, Control A to select all. Go to Tools, Convert to Applique. It's just change colors. It does it. It's strange. Don't worry about it. You know what colors you're going to put everything in. I'm going to Control A again. I'm going to come over here to Satin, and I'm going to make this blanket. And I'm going to leave all the defaults and click Apply. Perfect. All right, I am not worrying about the colors. If you guys want to, you can. I'm going to make my colors the colors of my fabric when I'm at the machine. I'm not worried about it here. All I really want to make sure of is that in here I have a placement stitch, a tack down, and a blanket. That's what I'm worried about. All right, so now I'm going to call this, I'm going to go File, Save As, 2-body, little wing, and save. Oops, you know what? Did you see what I did? I'm going to go File, Save As. Let's call this Baby Lock, Body Little Wing. Okay, perfect.